Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you are well. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. I'm just going to check my audio here just for a quick second. Let my monitor run right down. It's only on like a 15-second delay. But with any luck, you will be able to hear me clearly. Wait for the music to go away. Wow, that music is... Okay, that sounds all right. Let me know in the chat how it sounds to you. I have done some adjustment, you might notice. Mostly because whoops, that screen's not right. I did some adjustment because I was noticing I wasn't really sending very much audio to... What the... Now it's working. Okay. I was noticing that... Hey, how's it going, everybody? I was noticing that I wasn't sending very much audio to YouTube. It was appearing that I was doing it on vMix, but it was kind of low, and it just seemed quiet. When I was doing some of the shorts editing for a couple of weeks ago, I just thought, yeah, we're not sending enough out there. So I did some testing, and I decided to use a standard outside of vMix, because vMix is basically at this point reporting that I'm like almost clipping inside vMix. Now my processor is not clipping. Okay, it's got tons of headroom, so the processor's not clipping. The audio interface into the computer is not clipping. Everything inside the X32 is not clipping. But vMix reports that I'm extremely close to the edge, which is fine. I certainly don't want any issues, because that is the software that I'm using to process. Yeah, that's the, I'm processing my show out to YouTube from vMix. And so I certainly want things to coincide. However, I decided that instead of relying on vMix, and I have lodged a complaint about, I have not to vMix, but I have vocalized a complaint about vMix in the past, and I'll reiterate that here. But I decided to use Studio Monitor with the dB meter and the readout to standardize the amount of audio that's going to the stream. And I'm shooting for -12 dB on that scale. So before, when I was using vMix, before when I was using Studio Monitor, I would be somewhere in the -16 to -24 range for audio. And now my voice is consistently hitting -12 whenever I'm talking. And so the audio level should be turned up, and you shouldn't have to put... Now, the reason why I went down this rabbit hole, two reasons. Last week, I think Randy or somebody pointed out, hey, your audio seems a little quiet. And that may have just been a device, whatever. I hadn't changed anything, but I was inside Studio Monitor. I thought, okay, let's use an independent, audio meter to kind of standardize it where I want it to be. And then I sent audio to YouTube, and I played music, and I was getting, kind of in Studio Monitor, it was showing up at like -16, -18, somewhere in there. So I thought, okay, well, let's standardize to -12, because the next spot inside Studio Monitor is actually 0, right? So somewhere between -12 and 0 is where I want that to land. I want it to land on the lower half of that scale. And so if I'm hitting -12 on a consistent level, I felt like, okay, let's shoot from there. Let's record some stuff, see what it sounds like. I sent a test stream to YouTube. YouTube seemed to like it. Then I recorded some videos, test videos, and I monkeyed around with the levels of the audio just to kind of get a consistent sound. And then, of course, when it gets processed at that level, we get a little bit of compression action as well, so that it creates a pretty consistent sound. So I'm using Studio Monitor, oddly enough. I feel a sneeze coming on. I'm using Studio Monitor to kind of standardize the audio going out to YouTube, because there's not an audio meter in YouTube Studio anyways. And so you have to figure out what level you want it to be at. But then YouTube also does some compression, and it also on the video, and it also, I don't know, does something with the audio. So hopefully it sounds pretty good. I know the music was a little loud to start, but again, I was pushing that music to -12 just to kind of get a consistent sound. And part of it is because I want you, when you're watching the pre-show, to set the level on your device or your computer or whatever, and then when I show up, it's not drastically different. I'm not too quiet or I'm not super loud. I'm delivering the same level when I speak. Now, what I heard at the start of the show was it seemed like the music and my voice when I was talking over that transition seemed like you probably couldn't make out what I was saying. Maybe you could. I couldn't from my phone, but as soon as the music started to fade, I came through nice and loud. So probably we'll set the music a few decibels less so that when the show starts, you can still hear me clearly, and then the music will fade out. And this will be the level for the show. So, there you go. All right, let's jump into the chat and see what's going on. Hey, there he is. Hey, how's the weather? Yesterday was in the 50s, but today is currently 35 going up to 45. I know for you Canadians, that's single digits, but we're not at 45 yet. We're only at 35, so that's probably, 2 or 3, somewhere in there. My conversion may be off. It's been about 15 years since I've had to do that active conversion. So anyways, it's in the single digits, but you are probably, under snow at this point? So well done. And I've been watching the Ontario schools shut down. They shut down yesterday. I think they dug out last night, and they're back in school today, from what I know. But I could be wrong. I don't keep a close eye on the weather situation in Ontario. My parents just stay in their condo all the time, so I'm not worried about people. My brother is a couple years older than me, and he is self-sufficient, so I'm not worried about him either. It's mostly all of the other drivers on the road, many of them who have never driven in snow before, because immigration is a big thing in Ontario. So that's more of the worry, is people who don't have experience driving in bad weather. But Ontario knows how to handle snow, that's for sure, and so does Canada. So they have the machinery to handle it. Now in Tennessee, they don't have any machinery because it snows like once a year. So they just let it shut down the city, which is insane. But as a Canadian, that is wild that there's no snow mitigation at all. That is just, when it comes, we just stop everything we're doing and we clear our schedules. I'm not complaining about that. I just think it's wild. So, hey, we can indeed hear you. Excellent. Yep, your voice level sounds pretty good. Excellent. Because, Angus, you are one of the standards on this show. If you're happy, then I know I'm pretty close. The music could come down about 3 decibels. Yes, so it was... See, here's another thing about vMix is the decibel changes inside vMix, in the control panel of vMix, is pretty... All right, well, maybe I'll get into this complaint now. My complaint is that the audio functions of vMix they leave a lot to be desired, mostly because the slider, the fader inside vMix doesn't seem to, I don't know what scale it's operating on, and then the actual audio meters. Like here's a great example. I don't have any additional gain running on my master output than what I'm sending it from this microphone. So you would think that those audio levels would be the same, but actually, and there's no automatic gain control, any of that. But so you would think that if I'm sending 100% microphone and it's hitting, -6 or whatever in vMix, that the master output would also read -6. But it's actually louder than what the microphone level is sending it. I cannot find where that additional gain is happening between the microphone, which is going direct to master, and then not through any buses or anything, from the microphone directly to the master. You would think that they would be identical, but in somewhere in there's a gain increase between my microphone and the master output. Can't find it. So I have learned not to really trust the audio levels inside vMix as like a way to give me information that's useful. Instead, use a third party or use your X32 or your audio interfaces or something else that is the same for all your audio inputs. Kind of ignore vMix. I mean, you have to pay attention a little bit to their audio settings, but test the output on Studio Monitor and watch the audio level, because the vMix output that I'm sending, that I'm streaming out of vMix, is the same output that I'm sending to NDI. And so NDI on that secondary machine that runs all my NDI sources, that machine is getting a vMix source, and I'm watching it in Studio Monitor. That's how I'm watching my stream, basically, as a one-man band. I'm watching it in a Confidence Monitor, and I can see the audio level off to the side, showing me exactly where it is. Now, of course, I could also open Studio Monitor on this machine and fire up another stream, but that takes bandwidth and all that stuff, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so yes, I will adjust the music, because it does seem to dominate when it's me and music. It seems to dominate, but it's on an automatic. Like when I push the button pre-show, it fades the music up, it dims my lights. There's a whole sequence involved, and I do that through buttons in Companion, which is one of our topics today. Snowy and -15 to -20 Celsius. Blech. Yeah, yowzers. That's a chilly one today. So grab yourself some coffee or hot chocolate or something and make the best of it. But good luck. Now, what's funny is in Edmonton, you just call that a Tuesday, right? There's nothing changes if it's snowy and -20. Here in Middle Tennessee, it is a beautiful day outside, and I can do you a solid here and actually show you the beautiful day outside. Let's go to, what shot should I use here? None of those. Okay, this is my front door. So let's start there. I'll kill the sound, and I'll make this full screen. So this is currently what we're seeing at the front door. The contrast of the sky. This is a Reolink doorbell. Works pretty well for what it is. And that shot, I believe, is the high bandwidth shot. There are three. There's basically like 1080p, 720, and then I don't know, like 480. It's pretty loosey goosey. But this is my front lawn, which is not much of a lawn. There's not much grass there, but it is a cool day in Middle Tennessee. But there's no snow on the ground, and it's sunny, which is amazing because we don't see the sun too often. It's mostly overcast. So I am looking at doing more Reolink cameras, but PoE cameras in the garage build. So yeah, we're good to go. Hey, John, check your LinkedIn messages. I've got some photos to share and troubleshooting to walk through. Yeah, it takes a lot to shut us down. All right, I'll jump over to LinkedIn because that is a place that I should hang out too. Okay, so yoink. Angus has sent some photos here. So he's got a new computer rack that okay. So we've got a new, man, that is pretty well done. That's so nice and clean. Yeah, I like that a lot. That is very pretty. I like that you've mounted. These monitors are mounted in the doors. Is that right? So you put the doors on and the monitors are mounted in there. That's pretty neat. Let's be sure that we open VLC and get that going. So that no audio from that. Oh, you know what it is? It's this one right here, I think. Nope. Hold tight, everybody. Wait a minute. Oh, it's just because it's down. That's why.
That's pretty neat.
There we go. And that's pretty loud. Okay, so this is very pretty. Well done. She's so tidy, and I do like this the desk function where you basically just roll up in anything and put your desk up. That's awesome. I do like that a lot. All right, so we've got a troubleshooting. Angus says, I'm dealing with a show-stopping issue related to Blackmagic desktop video updates. I'll go through it in the chat. I'm doing looping testing to see if it's reverting the drivers. Oh, okay, we'll stop. Okay. See the results here. So we're going to leave LinkedIn. And let's just have a little look-see at the problem. Here we go. Okay, let's hold and jump over to, whoops, pause. Let's jump over to socials. All right, here we go. The tables are the rack ends. Yeah, that's cool. The monitors are totally separate. Front and back covers, that is. Yeah. That is a beautiful rig. Well done. Well done. It's a great machine. So I'm having issues on my DeckLink 8K Pro G1. SDI inputs will randomly freeze and quit working until I reset the input in vMix. The middle clock is overlaid on the SDI output. The lower right is overlaid on the input. So when it freezes, the video, of course, will stop. And it'll show me when it froze. Okay. Good troubleshooting so far. I'm going to set this up side by side so I can do both of these things while we talk. The lower right clock is to show me that the Video Ninja stream is still alive. It appears that when I updated to desktop video, it appeared when I updated to desktop video 15.3. All right, so the clock in the clock in the lower right-hand corner is your live clock. That's the one to show everything's still running. But the clock that's overlaid on your output is overlaid on the SDI, and that is the one to that's the one to show us that the feed stopped. So I rolled back to 15.2, and now we repeat the test until freeze procedure. Okay, I haven't seen it freeze yet. Is this a live, like, are you sending me a live feed? I haven't seen it freeze yet since I started watching it. I've been watching it for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes now. This is a great little test video you have here. All right, so I will move this over here so I can share this video again with everybody. So this is, oh, my face is over the, sorry. Yes, this is live. Very cool. Okay, so I haven't seen the, I'm gonna just elevate myself here. Oh, whoops. That's not what I meant to do. What's going on here? This one. Layers. All right, because we want to see the clock on this. And then this is full screen on my computer. Yeah, so I haven't seen it change. Or I haven't seen it freeze. Ooh, I like that. It's very Alaska-like. Direct from the very rack that I just showed you. That's cool. When it freezes, it will stay frozen, but it'll take anywhere from 5 minutes to 8 hours to freeze. Yowzas. This is my standard test loop. It's all my own content, of course. Right on. Notice how the clocks are very slightly out of sync. That's the latency from the output back to the input. Yes, fair enough. That's less than a second, though, right? It looks like that was Jasper, Alberta. It looks like it's also doing some auto bandwidth management, because it on my machine, and this is probably Starlink and streaming and all that stuff that's going on right now, it'll get really sharp and then it will get not really sharp. It's not bad at all. It's definitely, I'm getting probably 1080p, but yes, the image, it's doing that like high buffer rate, low buffer rate thing. Like now, it just got really sharp. Looks good. Very cool. So that's pretty neat. You think that the update has caused some sort of issue with you said the SDI, it'll stop. Let me look down here again and read now. So when it freezes, the video, of course, will stop, and it shows me, and it'll show me when it's frozen. SDI inputs will randomly freeze and quit working until I reset the input on your Decklink 8K Pro G1. Okay. That is an interesting problem. Other than if the only variable is that you did the update, yes, the Video Ninja will do that. I think it tops out at about 4 megs. Right on. I mean,
How neat is that?
Your latency to my screen is 22 seconds. Yes. So that is the YouTube latency. Good to know. I knew it was about 20 seconds, mostly because I monitor the show myself on YouTube. Like I log into my account on my phone, and that's how I check my audio. It's just to make sure that it's coming through the final product. But yeah, that's my, I guess I could turn it up to like super low latency, but yes, it's incredibly frustrating. I bet. Other than if you've only done one change, and yeah, if you've only done one change and that's update the cards, then maybe maybe everything else isn't up to date. Not that it should freeze the SDI. So yeah, it's got to be rooted somewhere in Blackmagic for that update. I don't have an 8K card. I have a Duo Decklink card. I have 2 of them actually at the soundstage, and they work pretty well. We can talk about this because it's a part of the issues that we've had with it's part of the issues that we've had with the purpose of this show for today, the title of the show. I have another vMix machine running desktop 15.3 with a Decklink Duo 2. That's what I've got. And it's been doing the same test so far. No issues at all. Yeah, so it's got to be that specific, that 8K version then. Yeah, that's the only change. The vMix folks suggested reverting to an earlier desktop video version. Yes, as they do. I remember when I was over at my previous employer and we asked vMix, hey, vMix is crashing now with this full NDI, and they said, well, why don't you try reinstalling the entire operating system? And I was like, this is not a troubleshooting step. If the problem with your software is that it's not working correct on Windows, I should have to reinstall vMix. That's reasonable, I think. But to reinstall the entire operating system, that seemed a little extreme. And today's non-sponsor, finally, Ember Mugs. Keep your coffee hot and your creamer curdled with a little Tim Hortons maple-flavored coffee today on this chilly Tennessee morning. I decided, all right, I'm going to not take the Santa cup this time, and I'm going to use my black Ember mug to keep the coffee hot. So it's been great. I actually regret upgrading to the 8K. Wow, it's not as versatile as the Duo 2. Well, I'm sure you could sell the 8K and buy at least 2 Duos, right? If it doesn't serve your purpose, then because 8K, in what occasion are you needing to send 8K? And maybe you have a fully legit reason, by the way. I'm curious, though, because I don't know many productions that are doing full-on 8K. Okay, so this is a good little pathway into what I wanted to talk about today. So last week, I encountered an issue with ProPresenter over at our soundstage. So we have a oh, Angus says, yeah, I may well do that. Hey, I'm reminded of Lieutenant Worf, who says phrases like, it serves me. That's the purpose of the technology, not for you to spend a whole bunch of time serving it. Okay, so there's your Star Trek nerdism for the day. So I encountered an issue with ProPresenter last week, and it's an error that I've had show up multiple times in actually on my home machine here. So I have a Mac Mini that runs ProPresenter where I build our weekly presentations and then I upload them to Dropbox and I pull them down from Dropbox on the other side. Well, last week I got this strange error that said something about proto helper error 1. Yeah, I don't know. It was very bizarre. But it seems that I may be the only one that's really having this issue. And if I jump over, where are I wonder if there's a way that I can see my posts. Your content. There we go. Oh, that was easy. Published posts. Here we go. So the error is this one. The operation couldn't be completed. Protohelpers.protobuf serializable error 1. So I posted this on the ProPresenter users group back in July 17th, 2024, because I was having the issue here on my computer. And yes, it was baffling. So then I posted that, and then last week I posted again, hey, does anyone know, or I think I shared it again and said, hey, this message is now popping up on machines at the church. Still no idea what this is. Apparently it has to do with the playlist import process. And my friend Dan Scheibner said, that's just pro being pro, which was not helpful. But you'll notice that nobody else has commented on this, meaning that I don't think many other people are getting that error. So that error was common, shows up all the time on my machine here at home. Well, it started showing up on the machine in the studio, or on the Mac Studio at the soundstage, and I couldn't import the playlists to ProPresenter. Now, that I've never had an issue syncing things here, but it would fail and give me that error right when the playlists went to, synchronize with Dropbox. So I did everything I could possibly think of other than restarting the machine, because when I restart the machine, I lose remote control of that computer until I physically show up and reconnect it, which is a terrible problem to have. Anyway, Friday night, I could not figure out what I was going to do. And I actually have a backup machine, which has been malfunctioning, which is a MacBook Pro, which also does the exact same synchronize. And I was able to synchronize to that one, no issue. It was just going to the studio. So what I ended up doing was uninstalling ProPresenter, basically changing the libraries to say, old, which is a way that you break the link to ProPresenter. And then I opened a new version of ProPresenter. I had updated all of them, thinking, all right, well, maybe it's finally breaking because I haven't updated these things in a long time. So I updated to the latest version, and nothing worked. When I would open the new version of ProPresenter, it would still give me that error when I tried to sync, and now I wasn't really able to sync anything. So I restarted the computer. And I broke the libraries again, reinstalled again, and then restarted the machine, and I lost control of it. So on Sunday morning, I knew that the MacBook Pro was working, synchronized. I just had to fix the little error that we're having where it's not actually sending to our constellation. So I'm not really too sure what the deal is there. But when I went to the soundstage on Sunday morning, I logged into the computer, the studio computer, opened up ProPresenter, and was able to sync without the error showing up, which I thought was odd. But that means 50% of the battle is fixed, and I didn't necessarily have to rely on the MacBook Pro getting that online in order for it to work. The disadvantage was that it erased all of my macros and all of the integrations that I had. So I had to rebuild all the essential ones, and then I had to spend part of Sunday afternoon rebuilding the rest of it. So thankfully, I know what changes I've made and what things I need. I had to rebuild the stage displays. I had to rebuild all of the multi-viewers. I had to rebuild all of that stuff that machine runs. But I was able to do it in time enough for service and for our stream, and then I was able to kind of redefine everything after the stream to get the future ones up and running. So we're in good shape there. We're recovered. The error is not happening again, and so we will see going forward if that error gets reproduced. Well, unbeknownst to me, I did not know that by updating to the latest ProPresenter 7 version 21.0.1, that would render Companion useless. And there has been an announcement in the release notes that version 20 was going to be the last version that the ProPresenter module in Companion was going to be usable, and they were going to get rid of that and switch over to a ProPresenter API module. So it's not the end of the world. However, if you're familiar at all with Companion or Buttons Companion or any of those versions, you do know that you can't just swap out the module for another thing. You have to rebuild all your buttons. Well, the ProPresenter integration on, well, and I could pull it up, I guess, but the ProPresenter integration that we do on that machine is almost exclusively, with the exception of about 3 buttons, is almost exclusively ProPresenter, which means that if you have 24 buttons that are programmed to work with, come on. Oh my goodness, I keep fat fingering this. So if you have there we go. If you have a couple dozen buttons that you're using, and I can pull up the position editor here and then share this on the screen. See here, we have several purple buttons, and the purple buttons are my ProPresenter. It's just the way that I can kind of categorize what it is that we need to do. So all of these buttons broke. The ones I knew that Companion was still working, buttons was still working, because we could click on Light Key, which is an integration with Light Key, so that we can change the lights on the stage from the Stream Deck. And I use this same functionality in the production booth as well, but all of these purple buttons were broken. And so I had to go in, not only rebuild all these buttons to work, but I also had to rebuild all of them. These are props inside if you're familiar with how ProPresenter works. These are all props that I had to rebuild because they all got erased with the reinstall of ProPresenter, which was kind of okay because it gave me a chance to kind of make them better, as that happens. So I was able to make them better, but all of these now have to go through something called the ProPresenter API, and the actual module itself is I got to use a password for this. One moment. All right. Also, I left the caps lock on over there. So, all right. So here, this actual module is this one here, which is called by name. Where's the actual root name of it? Renewed Vision, ProPresenter. Nope. All right. Well, we'll just look it up. ProPresenter API. This one. So if you click on this, it's already added, but ProPresenter Renewed Vision ProPresenter API is the new module. This one, Renewed Vision ProPresenter, which was the standard for, up until version 20, was the one that everybody was using, and then abruptly the latest update cut all of that. Now, what it also did was it screwed up the DeckLink Duo connections. So if you're using DeckLink Duo, which many of us are, to convert outputs or alpha channels or whatever into SDI, so you can go into your Blackmagic switchers or constellations or whatever it is that you're using to switch video, it also breaks that connection. So not only then do you have to update ProPresenter, but then you have to go in and you have to update all of the Blackmagic video stuff. So you've got to open Blackmagic Video, update the driver, update the card, and make sure that's all working. And then once you're done that, you have to restart ProPresenter so that it will start to see your external, if you got Sonnet boxes or if you got whatever you're running, you've got to redo all of that as well. I didn't know any of that until I got in on Sunday morning and had 1 hour before we needed to basically start running rehearsals. I did go a few minutes early. I went 15 minutes extra, made my family get up and to go in a little earlier because I knew that if I needed those 15 minutes, I would regret not going in early. But if I didn't need them, I would not regret being there 15 minutes early. So it made the most sense better to go in early and not need them, which was the case. I wanted to have the flexibility to do 4K, and I've never once needed it. I love Star Trek so much. Yeah, you and me both, man. I'm a TNG fan personally. That's my wheelhouse. And my wife and I are watching the entire series right now. We're into season 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. But it's just they're just hitting their stride. We just got done at McKinley because the Enterprise needs a refit after their first encounter with the Borg, which was so we're in season 4 because the Borg end season 3, episode 1, and then Measure of a Man, and then season 2 starts with the Borg as well, and them recovering Captain Picard, and then the next episode is them at McKinley, which is just off of Earth, where they're repairing the Enterprise, and then that's the episode where Picard goes back. It's called Family, where Picard goes back to his home and he reconciles with his brother, who has a family and whatever, and contends with, do I stay in Starfleet or do I take a job working on the ocean floor? And also where Worf has his family visit, his adoptive parents, mother and father, and also where Wesley watches a recording that his father recorded for him that was stored on Earth and was delivered to the Enterprise. So it's all like 3 different family dynamics, a lot of character development, not a huge story movement, but it's a lot of character development. So anyway, that's where we are, right at the beginning of 4, and it's good stuff. Yeah, that is a definite frustration on a Mac. One solution would be to connect it to a KVM and then use the KVM to remotely log in to allow remote control. Again, that's a good idea. Should definitely do that. I have a GI iNet KVM I use on my Mac Mini for exactly that purpose. All right, I'll have to look that product up. I'm not familiar with it. Could it be an issue with the file syncing in Dropbox? I know Sync on Demand is mostly broken on Mac OS. This sounds like an absolute nightmare. Yeah, it was a doozy. But I kind of had the confidence of I could probably get the MacBook Pro functional and we could fly manual for the day. Thankfully, we didn't have to do that. So the TNG seasons 3 and 4 are so good. Nightbot appears to be grumpy with me. Yeah, what did you do? It did say, hey, you're not spamming though. Here, you know what I'll do? I'll fix that. Because I'm not too worried about you. So you are here on the regulars list. So I don't even know why it did anything. Let me look at the logs. Mr. Worf, fire. Yes. So that's the end of season 3, right? Well done. The periods, that would have been fine. I'm not too sure why they put you out on that. But anyways, you are listed as a regular contributor, so it shouldn't it shouldn't have blocked you for any reason. Anyway, so yes, we are there. I don't know what the next episode is, but we will move forward. Picard is obviously back on the Enterprise now, and Worf had a good family moment. Later in the season is, I think, when he meets Alexander Roshenko, and then that child goes to live with his grandparents for a while. So they are talked about again in the series. But anyways, off to off on a tangent for TNG. I do love it, and I have it in Blu-ray. Of course, it's cropped down to 4:3 because that was the way they filmed it, but still great. Still really enjoying it. Okay, so we can jump back into this real quick, and let me go through what the fix was for all of that mess. All right. So here, the big fix for ProPresenter changing over. So when you update to 21, ProPresenter you need to use the module called ProPresenter API. And that is ProPresenter-API at time of recording here today, which is, what is today? The 11th of December, 1.0.5. That's the latest stable version. And in there have all the API commands that you're used to. They are named differently now. So if you have a clear all command, it used to be just it used to just be clear all. Like you just select that one and it would show up here on this list. Now it is called clear operation, and then you have to select group, and then you have to select all because you're clearing multiple things. But if you're doing clear slide, you have to say clear layer, slide layer, and then it will just clear that one. So there's a few changes. Also, if you're using timers like we have a sermon timer that runs. We ask the minister, hey, how long do you want to talk today? It's not a hard and fast rule. He's allowed to go short. He's allowed to go long. It's just to give him a general idea as to where he's at and how long he's been talking. And so he picks a number each week. Hey, I'm going to go 36 minutes. I'm going to go 40 minutes, whatever. And if you're using timers, you can show them on the Stream Deck. But you can also allow it that when you press this button, it starts the timer. So we don't necessarily like to automatically start timers because sometimes he gets up and he wants to do 2 minutes of announcements, and we don't want to kind of rob him of those 2 minutes from his lesson. So we manually start it. Well, instead of going into ProPresenter, going to the timers page, scrolling down to the timer she needs, and clicking the play button, which is not intuitive at all, I've programmed this button to basically show the amount of time that the minister has picked. She puts it in, before service starts. It'll reflect it on the Stream Deck. But then when he starts actually preaching, she clicks the button and the timer begins. And we can actually test this function by clicking here, and it begins the timer inside ProPresenter. So this is actually over at the soundstage. Now, when the next action is the ability to stop the timer and then also release the time or reset the timer. So here, if we were to test this function, it would stop the timer. All right, 52:42. But when she presses the button, it stops it. And when she releases the button, it resets it. So she can stop and reset, and then we're ready for next week. So it's nice that Buttons gives you the options, and Companion as well, that there's a press function and a release button. It also allows you to do precision changes. And so I could set the next slide function to be, instead of a press button function, to be a release button. So if we're going for precision lyrics or scriptures or whatever, she could press it and hold it. And then when she releases it, that's the trigger that sends the next slide. So if we're really concerned about precision, you can say, okay, go ahead and press the button, hold it down, and then when you need to change the slide, release the button, and that's the trigger, which is another level of, if you're just pressing the button, you may not notice that it happens on the release. But if you want, you can press and hold and it will not do anything, and then you can release it, and that's when the slide moves. It's so nice that functionality is in there because you can set up multi-stage changes. When I press it, it does one thing, and when I release it, it does another thing. In regards to the sermon, step 2 is when I press it, it stops the timer, and when I release it, it resets the timer. That's nice to have in one movement. You could also set up a third step. So when I press it once, it starts. When I press it the second time, it stops it. When I press it the third time, it resets it. But that's an extra level of training that you're going to have to give your volunteers, and that isn't necessarily something that I think is as intuitive as setting it up in the same sequence. So just depends on where your team's at. I mean, if you have really highly efficient people that understand it at more than just a volunteer click button level, then by all means go for it. Picard's mud fight with his brother should be coming up next. Actually, that was in the episode Family. So that just happened, and Picard is now headed back to the Enterprise for the next mission. So we have that episode has happened. All right, so the fix to maybe your ProPresenter is not working. It's not working with Companion anymore after you updated to 21. You have to change the module, which means that you probably have to reprogram your buttons. So don't delete your module, your ProPresenter module, when you're doing the changeover, because you'll be able to see the difference between the two. But instead, you'll be able to like pull it up, add an action. Let me show you how I do this here. So you go into the button that you want to use, right? And if I were to hypothetically do this again, I want to say previous slide. What you can do is you can add an action, and all of your previous instructions are here. You can even turn off that functionality on the button and set it up here, trigger operation, yada, 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 and then make sure it looks correct, and then you delete it. You delete the function that you want here, and then that will, you can clean up each of your buttons systematically. It does take time, and although this is frustrating, I actually appreciate the chance. Look at it this way, positive way to spin on this. I appreciate the chance to maybe clean up the interface, but also make it better. One of the things that I changed in this when I was forced to reset it was this logo button was set here on the main screen, but we actually use Slido more often than we do logo. So I made a prop for Slido, which is a QR code and a little thing that says, join us over on Slido to ask your questions. Slido, we use that every week. Now I've made it a prop, so I don't have to put it inside ProPresenter anymore. I actually have it as a prop. I'm going to skip this version of 12.1. Again, there's another update to be done. I just did the update on Sunday. So here, if we go over to props, this is the Slido prop, and that Slido prop is yoink like this. It says scan this to join our Q&A for this week's lesson. And if you're downloading the mobile app, you can sign in with just the little passcode that we have here. But people can just scan it, and then it loads them into Slido as an anonymous user, and they can ask questions about the sermon or the lesson or about our congregation or whatever they want directly there in Slido. Well, it's now a prop. And so when you click it once, it goes on the screen. And then when you click it again, it goes off the screen. Well, okay, if we were to take the next logical step here, and let's go ahead and make this close. Let's go here, Slido, and I trigger this prop. Now you'll notice it lights up. It also shows on the Stream Deck green, meaning Slido's on the screen. And then if I say, okay, clear prop, she clicks it, it will then disappear from the screen. So it is a nicety that I can send that prop onto the screen, and we can use it as a lower third or whatever we want to do. So it is very convenient, and we have multiple buttons, multiple things that here. Let's go into a show real quick, and I'll show you kind of now. Okay, so we'll put a script up. This is what shows. This is what gets sent out. I convert this to alpha and bring it in as key and fill. But this is what my gal sees. This is her functionality inside ProPresenter. This is what she sees when she's running things. Okay, she sees what's going out. That's a live output, and then she has a timer. She has a video input timer and the sermon clock timer. But then, if she's running this from ProPresenter or from Stream Deck, if she clicks next slide, it will advance it. You can see it there on the multi-viewer. It will advance to the next slide if she just wants to use the Stream Deck button to do that. But if she needs to clear for some reason. Sometimes I tell her, hey, I need you to clear all because, I want it totally clean. Let me slip over here. So I do this, and then I say fire. It will clear the lyrics for her or whatever it is that we're using. If I want her to start timer, boom. See, the timer starts inside ProPresenter. It's very convenient. And then I want to stop timer, and I want to reset timer. All those buttons now work inside of Stream Deck. The video timer is really nice because I do have my team tell me, especially if it's a longer video, I have my team give me like, hey, 20 seconds left, 10 seconds left, all that sort of stuff. So if we fire a video and then we go here, it should show that there's 18 seconds left on this video here on the Stream Deck button. So that's a handy little thing to have. And then again, we can clear all. So it clears the screen. If we want to clear slide, clear music, clear prop, sometimes we're using those functions. And then the current stage display, this trigger is actually to change the output of our stage display. So we have a stage screen. This is what that is. And when there's a slide up, this is what the stage display looks like from the screen. There is current slide, next slide. Okay, that's what this yellow is. And then over here in the corner is a preview of what's going on. So if I fire the video, it actually shows on the stage display what's going out. So if I click on this, it shows that's a live video of what's going out of ProPresenter. And in that instance, there are occasions where we want to change the stage display to a different version. Okay, so if we click on this button here, it should change it to something else. The reason why I want this changed, I'm going off on a bit of a rant here. The reason why I might change my stage display to what's known as current slide only, it only shows the slide that's on the screen. The reason why I might do that is because we have people that are reading and they see the next slide coming up and they start reading the next, and then when we change it, they get confused as to where they are. And so we purposefully, usually for people that are reading live on the screen off of the stage monitor, I purposefully only put up one slide at a time so that they don't miss the next slide. But when we have music, okay, so I'm going to go here. When we have music, songs, and we're singing like this, my musicians know how to use this. They know what's coming up next. In the event that my slide person isn't fast enough with the slides, or maybe I'm training somebody new, the people on stage can see what's coming next, which is really important because you don't want to screw up lyrics in a song. So, all right, there is the whole setup for there. So that's why that stage display button, which is right here, this stage display button shows us what the stage display is showing. Okay, so current and next slide, that's what's currently being shown on the stage display output. And if we click it, all right, if I click that button, it changes to current slide only. So it says, like if I've got a scripture reader up there, we want to change it, and it then will show us correctly, okay, the current slide is only being shown on that screen. But then when I have my musicians on stage, I want to be sure that stage display is showing current and next slide. And that is then this here. The reason is I want my ProPresenter people to be able to change that on their own because they're looking at this screen, which is their own multi-viewer. So they can see current slide and next slide, but they're not monitoring the stage display. That's something that I'm monitoring, but I want my ProPresenter people to be able to change as well. So that's the purpose of that button, is to be able to change it quickly. Hey, can you change it to next slide only or current slide only? No problem. They press the button and it changes right then. And inside ProPresenter, this is the stage output. Stage display output is just showing current only. So it's a quick way. We have headsets. It's over Dante. I've done a show on that. So I can communicate really fast with this person that's running this, and all they got to do is click a button. All they got to do is click a button. It's so great. So it's really helpful. Okay, I have ignored the chat for a while, so I will jump back now to that. Hey, that's such a good episode. Yeah, Family, that's a great episode on Star Trek. What is going on, Stockwork Orange? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Hey, I use the release function to abort delayed actions so that I have to hold the button for a second to do the action. Most of the time for power off a device or record stop. Okay, so you use the release to abort an action, meaning that you have to hold it down in order to... That's a good idea. Fascinating. There is also a functionality that I need to go to the soundstage to test. Let me go ahead and clear this and lock this screen. There is a functionality over at the soundstage. I'm using an X keys for my production side of things. So me calling cameras and me actually video switching. I use an X keys 64, which is a great device and can run with Companion. Well, with the latest update, ProPresenter update, it broke the Companion module as well, not just the button one. So let me log in here and I can show you that. Okay, it's already open. So, all right, so here is the Companion. This is a different machine. And in here, I'm rearranging these buttons, but it broke these ones down here. And so I had to download the new module, which is not hard, guys. Like, we go connections, and then we install ProPresenter API. And then this is the old one, Renewed Vision ProPresenter, and now we're using Renewed Vision ProPresenter API. So this is the one that you want to start using from here on in. Probably be good to just integrate it already, even if you haven't updated ProPresenter. But here it is. And so I've been rearranging buttons and doing a few things. But the big one here is pants down and pants up. Okay? So this is a pentagraph that is being controlled via DMX through light key. And pants down means pentagraph down, and pants up means pentagraph up. Now, it's a little cheeky thing from the tech crew from behind the scenes. Obviously, pants down is a funny phrase, so that's what I'm using it for. But it gives a command. When I press it, here's what I'm hoping will work. When I press pants down, it will trigger the cue, wait 30 seconds in this example, but I got to time it. So wait X amount of time, and then press pants down again, which stops the cue. In light key, when you press the button, it turns it on, and when you press the button again, it turns it off. So converting that to Companion, when I press the button, it turns it on, it waits 30 seconds, and then it presses the button again, and it will shut it off. So I just want to figure out how long it takes, and I'll time it on Sunday, how long it takes for the pentagraph to go all the way down to the ground. And then I will turn on these two functions, and that will then basically take it down, stop it, and then I do the same thing with pants up. It's the same command, same amount of time, but I'll have to time it again and figure out how long does it take to go up. Now, there's also a potential for it to slightly get off every single week because it is a actuation motor, which means that there's a ramp up and a ramp down. That might not be consistent every single time it functions. Who knows? So that is what we are working with, and the label is pentagraph down, pentagraph up. I have a camera mounted to that pentagraph. So when the audience comes in and sits down, then I want pants down to run. The only other thing I would love is for this to be on a timer. And for every Sunday at 9:35 or whatever time I want, pants down runs. And then every Sunday, maybe when the recorder turns off, every Sunday when I stop the Resi encoder, then I put the pentagraph. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But there's got to be a way, a trigger, right, that I could work in here that when in the event that on this day, here we go, time of day on a specific date and time. Not a specific date. Delete this one. New trigger. You guys are watching this, right? Love it. Pants down. Yes. I thought that was funny. On the event, on a time of day, is there here, on Sundays, Okay. At 9, what time do I need? 09, nope, that's 8. 09, what time? 32:00. And add conditions. Ooh, can I add? Ooh, yes, we could add conditions. Ooh, this is fun. ATEM, which one am I using here? Okay, let's just leave that. Buttons, sorry, connections. This is going to be a fun if this then that. So ATEM 1, wait a minute, why do I have 2 ATEMs here? What the heck? Oh, that's for the ISO. Okay, so that one. ATEM 2, I need to rename this. ISO, there we go. Giggity goo. Why does this say unavailable? There it is. Okay, so it's just catching up. So when the ISO, ATEM 2 ISO, thank you, save. Okay, this is going to be so fun. We are. Okay, good. Conditions. ATEM 2 ISO. When the recording is active, when we are recording. Oh, this is so stinking cool. Then run pants down. Oh, it's so good. So good. Then light key. Oh, I want to run. Hang on. Can I do this in a button then? Pants down. Local variables. Timer is what I want. All right, I'm gonna figure this out because this is gonna be so stinking cool. Because the only time that this should run on a Sunday is when we are live and recording, and we record every Sunday while we are we record all camera outputs. So if a great indicator that we are live is that if it's Sunday morning, if it's 9:32, because we'll be underway by then by 4 minutes, and if the ISO is recording, those 3 variables, then lower the camera. So that may need to be put here. Let's say pants down, automation, Sunday, in the event with the condition, then I'm going to open a second window here so I can see the button, the actual button command. Light key trigger Q. Whoops. So here, actions, trigger Q. Whoops. Light key, trigger Q. All right, let's make these look identical. All pages down 0.5. All pages, Q name down, fade time 0.5. Wait 30 seconds. We're going to just do 30 seconds and then boink again. Oh gosh, I love Companion. Oh yeah. No. So do the pentagraphs not have any position feedback? No. There is a way on the pentagraph itself to. All right, there. Yeah, it's kind of a wonky donkey situation. So let me pull up the actual pentagraph itself. I know we've done a show on this before, but by the way, I'm still watching your. This is still going, so it's still working. Hopefully, it doesn't freeze up on you. All right, so pantograph. There it is. So the pentagraph that we have is on sale. Oh, snip-a-snap, y'all. Although, it's on sale in Europe. Oh, that's a good price. Okay, so the pantograph we have, this is from Europe, is this guy right here, the Swit GA PT30E DMX motorized pantograph. And the shush, ma'am. This unit has the ability for you to go in through the interface and to set limits, like high and low limits. Unfortunately, the interface on it really sucks. Like they need to have a web interface where you could plug a Ethernet cord into it and get to the interface that way and set your settings. But it's very manual, and so you have to go in and like click these little 3 buttons on the front, and it's a mess. So I haven't done that. And it's also mounted up in a ceiling, so I haven't done that. What I have done, though, is set limitations on, like, right now, the way that it's set up is I press the pantograph button, I watch it go down, and I press it again, and it stops. And then I press the up button, and it goes up, and then I press it again, and it stops. That's all I really wanted at launch. Now, it's been 6 months since we've had it, so I probably should figure out the automation side of it, which is what you're witnessing today inside Companion. But the beautiful thing is that it does communicate with LightKey. It's a very basic DMX setup, and so we learned the hard way about that, but it is now functional and works pretty well. It has a really strong motor on it. The thing that you got to be careful about is if you don't set a bottom limiter, which I haven't, and you click pantograph down, it will go all the way down as far as it will go. With this is a 16-footer. And then it will come all the way back up halfway. And then your commands are reversed because you clicked down and it went down. The actuator motor turned. And then when the wire got all the way to the end, the actuator motor continued to turn. And so then it started pulling it up, right? Because if you think about a wire that goes all the way out, right? It unwinds, goes all the way out, and then it stops, and then it will start coming back up. Well, then the pantograph is going down, bringing the pantograph back up, and it will stop halfway. That's as far as the actuation motor will go. Man, this was confusing. So you really want to set limits before you install it, but you kind of have to install it, and we were scratching our heads even how to get this DMX thing to work, and it was quite a mess. So I didn't do that, but instead I think I can set the limits inside Companion. One thing that you want to be really careful about as well with this unit is, I have noticed, if you press up and the actuator motor goes all the way to the up, it will error out. And then the little light on the front, there's a little yellow light that's on the front of the unit. It will flash yellow, whereas the correct status is supposed to be on yellow solid. So it will sit there and flash yellow and potentially not allow you to extend the pantograph back down. So lessons learned about the Swit GA PT30E pantograph run by DMX, which is amazing. It works really well. I just wish that it was a little more intuitive, and it really isn't. So we saw these at NAB this year. Whoa, year's not done yet. This year we saw these at NAB and thought, okay, that's what we want to get. And here we are. So anyway, good little unit. We did have to ship it from Europe, and then the tariffs killed us. So that was a bummer, but it is what it is. So back to reality then here. Let's jump to this guy. So the auto pants down is, I want this unit to do this on its own. And in order to do that, we need some conditions. We need some time of day conditions. And then I want it to automate, because if I can automate it, then I can just change the buttons themselves. I don't need this 30-second thing. This can just be a quick adjustment thing. And then, yeah, that'd be great. I probably should get on there at least and figure out the limiter going up, because I'd like it to auto turn off on its own going up, right? Just to go up to the max and then stop. But as it is right now, I don't have that option. So then you could make a timer, This timer's currently off. But we could duplicate this and say pants up and change the timer to, well, we're usually done at, I don't know, a 10. Oh, no, not a timer. Pants up if if the recording is changed to stopping, and hang on. Let me think this through here, because I kind of wanted to say, like, if the recorder was running, but then is changing to stopping. Maybe we could do time of day on a specific date and time. No. Time of day. No. That's on 15.2 now, by the way. If it freezes, I'll revert down one more version and try again until it's reliable. Well, you had it working on 15.2, right, at one point? So hopefully, if it stays steady, then I guess we know. It's just a bummer. I wish there was... What is variable change? Variable to watch. Oh. No. This is so stinking cool, though. This condition. What else we got here? Oh. Timer, message, layouts, screens, props, layers, active look, active capture. I wish that there was a add events, maybe? On button press. Curious. Hang on. Does Resi have a... Resi Studio? Hang on here. Yeah, I think I went from 14.5 to 15.3. Yowzas. Yeah, that's a big jump. Does Resi have a module, a connections module? Resi has a decoder module. What is the studio? What is that? Add latest Resi module. No, I don't think that's what I want. Deleted. Okay, so... what would signify... Here's the thing. Pentagraph, the Pentagraph brings down a camera that is right over top of the audience. And so I almost need a trigger that happens every week at the same time. You know, the same thing that happens at the same time. And it could be a ProPresenter, like a ProPresenter module or something that could trigger the Pentagraph to go up. So if we stop the recording, that's a good sign. Go ahead and trigger the Pentagraph to go up if we stopped recording. The only problem there is if I test record. So conditions, what internal conditions? Collection enable surface when check step when pushed, when collection is enabled matches specific status. Yeah. Over the audience. Those are code words for configure it right the first time around. Yeah. Well, yes, you don't want it to bonk anybody in the head. And it won't go that far down. It's a 16 foot, but the ceilings are 22 feet. So fully extended is what I want. But the trick is being sure that it goes up before the audience stands up, right? So it needs to happen during the ending of service. And I'm just not too sure if stopping because we don't stop the recording. Well, we don't stop the recording until service is over, and so people are standing up. So this is probably not the right trigger. However, is there a command for light key? Yeah, this is tricky. No, there is not. I don't even have light key installed on here? Wait a minute. Get out of here. Yeah, light key's here. Just doesn't have a condition. Pants up. Condition. Nothing there. Bummer. All right. Well, I'll have to think this through. What's the right? Add a condition. If you stop recording after X time, then pants up. I want it like... All right, so let's walk this through logically here. Recording ISO. What's the difference here between ISO enabled and let's look at both of these. ISO is enabled. Okay, so no, that's not the one we want. Delete that. Is stopping. And then internal check value. Maybe. It's probably event. Where could it be? Time of day? Is that... See, this isn't after the time. This is on the time. On a specific date and time, on startup, on a time interval. Oh, nope. That's not what I want. On... Press record after. I still need to set it up so that it doesn't do it if I'm testing things. I just need it to trigger. I need like a time frame, like from 10:15 on a variable change, variable to watch. time? Time of day. Variable change. $12, time of day. Internal time. Time of day, timestamp, uptime, capture time. Which one? Time of day 12 hours, time of day 5. My brain is drawing a blank here. There's so many. Sermon timer, multi-viewer stage display. Whoa. Whoa. Holy smokes. Look at all these. My goodness, there's just a few variables to watch, eh? Time of day is correct. Okay, but help me with the logical condition here. Time of day. I need it to be like a time window. I need it to be like between. If I press the record button and I stop the recording between 10:15 and 10:45. That's what I need. Walk me through that logic. Time of day. And you know what? So do I need to? Oh no. How do I tell it? So the event is watching the time. How do I tell it what time? Do I have to do like this? Input not valid. Or do I change Input not valid. Time, hour, and minute. Then the condition. So time of day is this or equals 2 o'clock. Event is watching the time. Condition makes the rule. So time of day. Time of day. When internal time changes to what? Where do I put in the time? Do I need to put it here? Well, I could probably just... Here we go. This trigger will be executed when any of the events happen. On variable change, time of day, hour, minute, internal, yes. See, this one makes sense because it's like on this time, time of day, time and days. This one, time of day, I see. I got you. I got you. So this, no. $10:15. Conditions only execute when all of these conditions are true. Pants up automation. When internal time changes, Sunday 10:15. Time of day at the conditions. Wait, what? No. This must be painful for you to watch me try and fumble through this. I'm so sorry. If only there was a giant search engine, then I could probably figure this out in 2 seconds. You would think that, ooh, I can create a collection. That's cool. Let's call this pantograph or pants. Pants. And we're going to drag this into pants. Pants, pants. Cool. All right. So on variable change, variable to watch time of day being 10:15. So is this any time after 10:15 or is this on 10:15? That's what I'm confused about. Because it seems to me like it's being written as on 10:15 when I'm pressing the stop the recording button, then do these actions. Or that the this has to be stopping during 10. I don't know how to read this. A trigger will be executed when any of the events happen. Only execute when all of these conditions are true. So, you know what I mean though? Like, so does it need to be stopping at 10:15? Or is it after 10:15 on Sunday, then wait for me to press stopping and then it will trigger? Ooh, local variables. Local variables are not yet supported by all modules or fields. Fields which support local variables can be identified. Yeah, so I'm not too sure. I may just have to Google this because companion, hang on. Let's go here and ask. Okay, let's see what I can come up with here. See if this is a good enough description. Come up with some ideas. Stop recording command, light key module, time-based condition. Ensure that the module is... All right, let's go back to this here. Add connection, got that. Add connection, add connection. Stop recording basic. Okay, create the time-based trigger. So, go to triggers, make new trigger. Trigger name is Sunday, no, event. Hang on, it thinks that I want to stop the recording. No, I want to perform something else when I press the stop recording button in a time window on Sundays 10:15 to 10:45 a.m. Got it. You want the opposite of what I just described. You already have or will a normal button that will stop the ATEM recording. Now you want only on Sundays between 10:15 and 10:45. When that same button is pressed, companion should do something extra, like lighting keys. Yes. Outside of that time window and on no other days, the extra thing must not happen. The normal stop recording can work as normal. Here's the cleanest and most reliable setup. Go to triggers, make a new trigger. Boom. Action. This fires every time you press the... What? No, that's not what I want. Add a condition. What are you guys saying? Nothing here. Okay. Okay, so let's go up to... Let's just see what happens here. This says add a condition variable. Nope. Have you ever used Use a custom expression. Create trigger. Events. One event. Execute action. All right. Events. Gosh. On a condition becoming true. Condition is ATEM is stopping. And condition variable compare two conditions. Time of day against argument time of day maybe just compare one variable. Check value. Here we go. Time of day is greater than 10:15. Can I pick a and condition date? Day? No. Oh man, this is a head scratcher. It's going to be tricky. All right, well, this is probably anti-riveting at this point, so I'm going to probably sign out and see if I can figure this out. And that will make that a whole lot better if I can figure that out. Because, yeah, I'd love to automate it. I mean, that, happen automatically on Sunday mornings when we're live and happen automatically when we're done with service. It just needs to happen on its own. And so that is where I'm going to start with that. Where is my YouTube? Oh, here we go. All right. So, yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride. This has been fun. It's fun to figure this stuff out. And hopefully you're going to have a great week. No updates on the garage right now. I'm hoping to have a roof done sometime next week. I mean, there are updates, but I won't share them right now because it's kind of sad. But I'm working on the electrical, and I did the grounding rods last couple of days. Really hurt my hands doing that, but it's grounded. The panel's grounded, so that's good news. And now I guess I could I put in some outlets along the way. I need to swap out. So I have two circuits at 20 amps. There are 6 outlets for the workbench, and I'm going to put them on GFCI switches. I have 20 amp GFCIs, and I just got to put them in the first spot, which means I've got to undo the undo the one I put in there, and I got to put in a 20 amp GFCI. But then it will definitely be a little easier to. Well, then I'll have power, I hope. There is a strong desire for lights in there next. I'm just trying to decide if I want to just go rent a lift to do a bunch of things. I got Christmas lights I need to put up. So if I go and I rent a lift tomorrow, then I could just do all that tomorrow. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Angus says, hey, good luck. And Stockwork Orange says, thumbs up. So I appreciate that. Also, waving hello. Hey, Technicom Media, how's it going? Hey, did the contractor ever show up? No. All right, quick update on that is he is in the process of moving to Arkansas. And he told me that he's coming back this weekend. He hopes to come here on Monday. The guy that would normally do the work, his truck is broken, so he can't come out. So it's been a huge saga. But, man, I need shingles up there ASAP. And for that part to just be done, you know. And there's also a wall that they need to finish building. So if they could just hurry it up and get out here and finish it, that would be amazing. And then I wouldn't have to do any more contractor work, and it would all be on me. But the next step is lights for me. So lights need to get on. I need to finish wiring into the panel. It's going to involve me turning off the power to the house for 10 minutes. So I need to do that before the kids come home, but I need to power down all this stuff, and the whole house has to shut down, and the internet and everything. So, yeah, that will need to happen. But, you know what? I wonder, I could put the part of the house on the generator, I guess, and then turn off the main feed to the house. Yeah, that might work. Well, anyway, yeah, I need to go and get a scissor lift from like the problem is it's like going to be a couple $100, so I have to justify it by doing some other work as well. I did get my truck back from the shop. I had to take it in on Monday or whatever it was because it was starting to stink again. So the guys did some more repairs on that and paid another few $100 to have that done, but the truck is back, so that's good. Yeah, we'll just see if I can rent that scissor lift and get those things done. Also get my Christmas lights done. That would be good. And go from there. But all that, maybe I'll have more to report next week. I got to get the Christmas lights up because Christmas is like, what, a week and a half away or something like that. So probably should make that happen. Anyway, you guys have a great week, and we will see you next week right here, Thursday, hopefully, 10 o'clock. Go again. I'll let you know what comes of my automatic automation, and if I can sort that out, that would be really cool. And until then, you know, take care of yourselves out there. It's an important thing. Sounds like a way nicer way to work than being up on a ladder all day. That is true. There's a breaker on the panel that says main, one switch to rule them all. It's true. And actually, I have two panels because my house has a sub panel which has 80 amps to it. And then the main panel outside here in Tennessee, they put one on the side of the house. That one has 200 amps to it, so got to be careful. And then I'm tying into that one 100 amps to go to my garage, which is hilarious that there'll be more amps in my garage than there will be in the house, the entire house. But, you know, if you're going to go big, go big. So I'll turn off the 200 amps outside, and then I will hook up my garage and power that on, and then at the very least have, you know, outlets out there. That would be nice. But hopefully getting lights on, and then the next thing is a garage door opener, because that garage door is super heavy. So we're going to get a garage door opener out there, and that will make life a lot easier. Kind of waiting for the contractor to get done, and then once the contractor's done, then we can forge ahead. So more on that. Hopefully we'll have some more things done before the end of the year. But oh yeah, we're going to smart things it up over there too. So we'll get the lights and everything automated. So because that's what I do, right? So have a great day. Work safe. You too. We'll see you on the flippity flip, and we'll go from there. So take care of yourselves, everybody. We will see you next time. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and yeah, be well, stay safe.